altogether. So in the beginning, the king decides to step down and puts a blunder in the middle of the road to see who will be the future king. Middle, the wealthiest and the smartest person in town, did not remove the blotter, and then the farmer sees the huge blotter. Ending, the farmer removes the blotter and finds the note from the king that he would be crowned the next king. Now this is very easy. I'm expecting all of you to get it correct. Let's move on. Conflict. Conflict, in short, it is the problem. So if there is no conflict, there is no plot. So here, it's the suspense. It is something that a person struggles to overcome. Now, when we talk about conflicts, there are two types of conflicts, the internal and the external. The internal conflict is usually when a person is having a problem and he or she is debating it between himself or herself, whereas the external is when I'm having a problem with another person. Keeping that in mind, I want you to read the two extracts and identify which one is the internal conflict and which one is the external conflict. I'll give you 2 minutes to read it. Time is up. Let's check the answers. So, there is an internal conflict when the king's mind, within the king's mind, because he needs to find a new king and he doesn't know who to choose to succeed him. So here is the internal conflict. He's thinking, he's having a problem, he's talking with himself. The extract 2, there is an external conflict between the wealthy person and the king, because the farmer expressed anger against the king for outing the blotter on the way. It's external. So the wealthy person is having a problem with the king. Now, since we went through the 4 main elements of the plot, keeping them in mind, I want you to recall them, and for further practice, we're going to read this. But before we read it, remember, the elements, the plot, the characteristics, the setting, and the conflict. Keeping these 4 main elements in mind, I would like you to read this short story for further practice. I'll give you around 2 minutes. Start. Remember, note down the answers that you think, or note down the things that you might think that they're the answers for later on. Now let's read it all together. One by one, the kids in Chorizo class stood up and told about a special talent. Everyone would take a pot. Soon it was Chorizo's turn. He glooped and then told his class that he was a good juggler and could juggle 3 balls at a time. Then the class asked Orcho to juggle. No problem, said Orcho, but there was a problem. Orcho could not juggle. Last year, his big brother, Yoshi, tried to teach Orcho to juggle, but Orcho found it too hard to do. Orcho worried before remembering that he was a year older now. Maybe I can do better, he thought. I will get Yoshi to help me try again. Sure enough, it worked. Juggling was easier now. 3 weeks later, Orcho and Yoshi put on a show for the class. Yoshi did the tricky stuff. No one noticed that Orcho did only the simple tricks. The class thought Orcho was great. Now, answer the questions below. Remember to note them down. Now, since we read the entire story, there is a set of questions that I would like you to answer. Again, I'll give you 3 minutes to answer the questions. Read them and try to answer them based on the reading that you just read. Let's read the questions together. Who is the main character? What is the problem? What is the main conflict in the story? What idea helped with the solution? What was the solution? How can you describe the main character's personality? What is the moral of the story? Now, let's check your answers all together. The main character is Orcho. The problem is that Orcho could not juggle. The main conflict in the story is internal. Internal, that means Orcho pretends that he can juggle, but in reality he can't, and he doesn't know what to do to avoid being embarrassed in front of the class or in front of his classmates. So here it's internal. He had a problem between himself. Number 4, Orcho decides to seek help from his brother. 5, Orcho and his brother performed the show together, but the brother did all the tricky stuff and nobody noticed that Orcho could not juggle well. 6, Orcho has a weak personality because he did not say the truth regarding his talent. 7, the moral of the story tells us that we must be ourselves and never lie to people to avoid being embarrassed. Have faith in yourself and respect your talent, whatever small it was. I hope you got the answers correct. There might be a change in the answers. For example, certain people might not view him as a weak personality. They might view him as someone who kept trying. Some people might view that he kept constant, and the moral can be seen by other people that he kept trying till he succeeded because he was training 3 weeks before that. So the answers here are not fixed. They can be changeable. Thank you for paying attention and see you soon.